All right, everybody. We're getting drunk, and we're talking about video games, and again, we're talking about strategy video games, and for the millionth time, like I like Sid Meier's Civilization, but at the same time, it's really scientifically inaccurate, right? Like if you look at the English language, this is a new language in the world, and the English language is actually probably dead, and the American language has taken over, right? The English people have become Americanized, I think. Because if you listen to the English language 100 years ago, like, we can't understand it. Like, this American language is actually kind of new. So we see this infant, and like, English would probably be like a teenager language, maybe, or a child language, while American is like an infant language. But like, but they maybe merged together, right? And the American has taken over. But I mean, new tribes come in come into play, but at the same time, there's this tribal transformation that happens, right? Like the Latins, the Celts, and the Germans all used to be the same tribe. They used to be Indo-Europeans, and the Northern Asian Indians used to be the same tribe as the Germans and the Latins and the Celts, right? At one point in time. And so you have this transformation that happens within reality that you don't see within this Sid Meier's Civilization. And so in this strategy video game, like, you would be in a generational family, right? You would be a part of it. Instead of being a tribe, you would be a generational family. And as a generational family, like, you could switch tribes. Like, you could, like, this is how tribes happen. Like, let's say you're in a tribe in this video game, and you get this empire, right? But part of your empire gets conquered at one point in time. Well, what happens? If part of your empire gets conquered at one point in time, then the people who are living there used to be in your tribe, and they used to speak your language. Now, they're still going to survive, but they're now going to meld and merge with the new conquerors, and now they're going to be different. And history may kick these conquerors out, but the people of this region are going to now be something that's new, right? Like, oh my god. Like, so and like, don't get me wrong, like some people may hear me talking, and I'm like, well, virtue is strength, and I think it totally is. Like, I think that's just historically accurate. But there's different types of moralities, and there's different types of virtues, right? It's too simplistic to just talk about morality or virtue. That's just stupid, because there's different moralities, there's different virtues, there's different laws. And so it's like, all this stuff is just more complex than simplistic. Like, oh, virtue is strength, right? There's more nuance to it all. And so, like, in this strategy video game that I'm envisioning, like, you could be in a tribe, and you could do things to set your tribe up so that you can abandon that tribe and head to another tribe, right? So you could set up your own tribe, right? So, like, in this video game, I'm not like this. Like, I think it would be fun to add betrayal, because you'd have a single player game and a multiplayer game. The multiplayer game, I think, would be epic, because I think in order for you to succeed, like, and I think this is a historical truth, the elites get together, but the elites don't always stay together. Like, they betray each other and this and that, and and there's betrayal within the own family. But, like, we're not even gonna do that part of it, because that would make it too complex, right? We're just gonna, like, assume there's no betrayal within the family, because I think then that goes beyond the scope of this strategy video game. But that would be more realistic. Um, it would be because like this idea that you'd have this family that goes throughout time. No, because there's gonna be betrayal within that own family. Um, and so anyways, I think we could make a strategy game more scientifically accurate, but how do we do so? Like what is like that's what all these videos are about. These videos are about like what is it? Like I don't have all the answers. Like what's the algorithm? What's the different algorithms, right? Um, but me, like I like history, and I think they're like most history is just stupid and terrible, and I think I'm one of the best historians ever. Totally. Um, so let me give you my take on history. And I've already talked about the early Roman Republic, and I have a lot of praise for the early Roman Republic, and I think there's a reason that they were strong, right? And I think the reason that the early Roman Republic was strong was because of the second king of Rome, not because of Romulus or anybody else after. Um, but I think in order to look at the strength of the early Roman Republic, because again, people talk about Rome, and that's a misnomer. Like there's different Romes. There's the early Roman Republic, and then there's clearly the Roman Republic after they became corrupted by the Greeks. Like fuck those bitches. Like the Greeks, like I don't understand how the Greeks are still a tribe. Like the other side of the veil totally loves the Greeks for a reason that I don't understand, because the Greeks are a very immoral tribe, but they're a very immoral tribe that's still alive, because many times immoral tribes just disappear. They do. Um, like the Volscians. Like the Volscians didn't respect treaties, so the Volscians are no more, right? Um, but there's a special love that the other side of the veil has for the Greeks that I totally see in all of this. Um, what am I talking about right now? I'm just going off on tangents. Okay, oh yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so for the early Roman Republic, again, I go back to the two strongest gods, and these are the gods of borders, right? These are the gods of borders. Like the Romans would not violate your borders. They would not, unless you're a bunch of treaty breakers. Then they have cause to violate your borders because you're a bunch of barbarians. Like what makes a barbarian to an early Roman Republican? What makes a barbarian to an early Roman Republican is that you don't believe in the law. Now, don't listen to what I just said, because I don't believe it, right? I don't believe that the early Roman Republic was a utopia, okay? There were probably a lot of bad shit that went down. I'm totally not talking about the early Roman Republic as this utopian time, but I do believe that there was a strength to this respect for borders, right? I mean, if you go into another man's tribe and you go into that other man's tribe in order to conquer the corruption within that tribe, then you're going to have a lot of people from in that tribe who support you. But if you go into that tribe in order to conquer and assimilate that tribe, then those good people are going to be against you, right? So you're shooting yourself in the foot by being a brutal, evil conqueror. But anyways, I don't know. I think shit gets complex and there's nuance. And I do not believe that I don't believe in utopia. I think that's a dangerous concept. So, but at the same time, I think the laws of laws of respect that happened. So this is what this video is about. Like I'm not on that first stuff that I'm talking about. What this video is about Hannibal, right? And what pisses me off about all of the Hannibal histories that I fucking hear, they fucking irritate the fuck out of me. Because people see Hannibal without context. You know, but if you put Hannibal in context, what do you see? Right? Oh my God, what do you see? Because there's a lot of anti-Roman sentiment within the intelligentsia nowadays. That's totally factual. And this anti-Roman intelligentsia completely skews history. They completely do. Because the italics when Hannibal invaded were on the Roman side. And those that weren't got wiped out from the map. Okay? So what I'm saying is that before Hannibal, and I believe this is a fact, before Hannibal, the Italian peninsula was less Latin because the Latins respected borders and would only put a colony if you were a treaty breaker. If you're a treaty breaker, then fuck you. We're going to put a colony on your land because this is our land now. Because you're a treaty breaker. You're a barbarian. What makes you a barbarian is not whether you live in a fucking city or whether you live, out in the fucking nature. Like, no. It's whether you follow the law or not. Whether or not you respect your own word, which is the treaty. If you do not respect your own word, we're not going to respect your land. We're going to take your land. So before Hannibal, the Italian peninsula was less Latin. The greatest hero of the Latin language was Hannibal. That is a fact. That is a fucking fact. That is a fucking fact of history. After Hannibal, the Italian peninsula was more Latin. If it wasn't for Hannibal, we might still have Samnites in our world. Now, I know that there are probably people out there trying to create Samnites that don't really exist and try to create Etruscans in order to divide and conquer. But that's not real. Like, the Samnites are no more because of Hannibal. Like, any Italian people, like, there were Apulians. And the Apulians that supported Rome, they survived. The Apulians that betrayed Rome, they were wiped out. And Fabius Maximus the Great, and I know that's redundant, but it's proper to be redundant for this man. Fabius Maximus the Great understood this. Like, he understood the longer this war went on, the better for the Latin people. Which is something that Scipio didn't understand. Right? But Scipio was inspired by the gods, and I don't think Fabius was. He was just a very intelligent man. But yeah, no, people totally don't fucking understand history. Because what pisses me, like, this is one of the things that pisses me off the most about the history of fucking Hannibal. All you fucking history people. Oh my, you irritate the fuck out of me. Because when people talk about the history of Hannibal, they talk about Hannibal as this great Phoenician hero. Right? And you have all these Semites out there who love Hannibal as this great Phoenician hero, right? He's one of these great Semitic Phoenician heroes. Stupid, stupid idiots. Because Hannibal was the death of Carthage. Hannibal was the death of Carthage. Meanwhile, you have Hanno the Great. Hanno the Great, who was the true hero of the Phoenician peoples. He was. Hanno was the true hero of the Phoenician peoples. Because after all of this Second Punic War happened, there was this great secret society conspiracy. It was kind of this side story of history that nobody really pays attention to. But if you understand that if this conspiracy had succeeded, then Rome and the Latin language would have been no more. If this conspiracy had succeeded. But there was a slave, an Italian slave, who went to a consul and said, hey, there's this secret society of people who are murdering innocent people in order to get into this secret society, and they're a secret society of nasty people, and my master is one of them, and they're conspiring against the Roman people. And this consul went to the Senate and says, hey, I'm now dictator, there's a great crisis, we're going to kick some shit and find out what the fuck is going on, because this slave has made this accusation. I've raided these people's homes, and I've found some proof that this slave is telling the truth. We need to get to the bottom of this. And boom, this conspiracy was totally fucking ruined. But if this conspiracy had succeeded, then Carthage would still be a city in the Mediterranean today, and Rome may have been no more. So who is the greater enemy of the Latin people? It was Hanno the fucking Great, the balls, the Phoenician balls. Okay? And that's what pisses me off about all these histories. It's like they portray Hannibal as this great Phoenician hero when he was the champion of the Latin language and the death of the Carthaginians. Meanwhile, if Hanno had succeeded, then Carthage would be in charge of the Mediterranean today. Damn it. Like, that's obvious. And that's one of the most exciting things I think about my video game that I'm trying to create. Like people like don't misunderstand me. Like, I truly believe that virtue and morality, true virtue and morality, makes a tribe strong. Right? But betrayal is such a powerful force in our world. And in this video game, like, I think, like, again, you're going to be a part of a generational elite, but there's going to be other generational elites within the game, and that's going to be the players. Right? You're going to have all these generational elites fighting against each other. Maybe new generational elites popping up. But, like, I think in order to succeed in this video game, you're probably going to have to make alliances. But they could be alliances with people who could betray you, or you could betray them in the future, right? And this will have a single player campaign and a multiplayer campaign, and I think these will be totally different experiences. I think the multiplayer campaign will potentially be pretty badass, because, like, you're gonna have to this will be like a board game where you have to try to make alliances with real people rather than NPCs, right? And these real people are going to be playing you just like you're playing them, right? And so you could get into these alliances that could get broken apart and reimagined at any point in time, right? And so it sounds like a really 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 fun game. But also like the scientific accuracy is really fun. Like I go back to the language, and let's say you're in a tribe, and your tribe expands to this geographical area, but at one point in time during the gameplay, part of your territory gets conquered, right? So let's say part of your territory gets conquered by someone else. Well, what happens, scientifically speaking, if part of your territory gets conquered? Well, if part of your territory gets conquered, there could be many different types of conquest, right? But most types of conquest, you're going to have some type of assimilation that starts to happen, some type of mixture and transformation that starts to happen. So if you want to reconquer this territory, it's not going to be so simple, because if you succeed in reconquering this territory 50 years later, then it may be simple. But if you only succeed in conquering this territory 200 years later, then it's not that simple, because now these people that used to be your own are no longer your own. They're different people after 200 years of transformation in this territory. They're no longer your people. Now there are still some people who may identify with you, but there are others who don't. And it's not going to be that easy to conquer this reconquista this region, right? Um, So, anyways, like this is totally about like the reality of history rather than the propaganda. And I think one of the biggest problems of our day is nationalists, because nationalists are anti-scientific. They're anti-reality, right? Nationalists want to let you believe that the tribe that you're in has been a tribe from the beginning of time, and they will be a tribe till the end of time, right? And that's just not science. Like there's transformation, like the scientific reality is of tribes is that there's this constant transformation that happens. And that's something that you do not see in the Sid Meier's Civilization games or in the Total War Civilization games. Again, I'm a total fan of both. Medieval Total War is the first Total War I played. Brilliant game. But you don't see that in any of these games. You don't see a scientific reality in any of these games. And I don't know this. Like, I'm not coming here as like some fucking like infallible asshole telling you what it all is. I don't know what it all is. Like, I'm trying to get a conversation with you guys, and I want to make my video game, but you guys make your video games, and we'll see which one has a lot of resonance and is more scientifically accurate, I guess, at the end of the day. But no, I totally. I mean, Hannibal was the greatest champion of the Latin language ever. Totally, totally. That's a historical fact. That is a historical fact that Fabius Maximus knew, the Great, and Hanno the Great, the Balls, the hero of the Phoenician peoples. That's what both of these men knew. And that's not what Scipio or Hannibal the idiots knew. Like, these were brilliant men in their own way. Totally. Fucking A. Like, obviously. But damn. Hannibal was the complete and total death of the Celtic peoples in the northern Italian valleys. Um, Hannibal was the death of the Etruscans and the Samnites. The Greeks of the southern boot were able to survive, right? Um, like I don't know, like I'm kind of esoteric. I totally am. Um, like I love science. I do. I totally love science and reason and logic. But at the same time, I don't know. There's kind of this beauty to the Italic Peninsula, right? Because it looks like a leg, right? It does. It looks like a leg, and and from time immemorial, this leg has always had a Greek shoe, right? And I think there's a beauty to that. Um, and I think the other side sees that beauty, but maybe not. But yeah, no, I totally want to make this video game, and again, like this video game is like again, we have to go back to the Saint Paul quote, right? That there are people who see things cynically and people who see things purely, basically, and the good and the evil. But I think the whole man, the holy man, can do both. Right? They can play in both worlds. Right? A holy man can play in both worlds. And I think that's what this video game needs to be. This video game needs to respect morality and its strength, but also the weakness of its naivety. Um, it needs to respect the strength of cynicism, but the weakness of its emptiness. Yeah, totally. No, I like that.